everybody. Okay, so I've let you know that if I came across some information that I would bring it to you. So there's some new information that's come out regarding the Idaho 4 case. Brian Koberger. Okay, so let me just bring this up. It's regarding the 911 call. Who made it? Who is the person who found Ethan and Xana, etc. So we're just going to play through this. I will be stopping it at certain points for fair use, but I'm going to present this to you. Let me just see here. Okay, so here it is. We are going to play through this, and we're going to see what is going on with the case. I briefly listened to it, you guys, so we will stop and I'll make some commentary on it so I don't get dinged for fair use here. Okay, so let's listen.
It's not everything, but the probable cause affidavit, some of the police reporting, and the news conferences, that's given us a small picture. But what we haven't known is what happened prior to the first responders arriving on the scene. And tonight I can tell you.
Okay, so all we know so far, from what we've been able to be told, is that one of the surviving roommates' phone was used. We didn't know whose phone. There was a lot of speculation out there as to who made that call, whose phone was used, what exactly was said, and what happened leading up to it. So we're going to find out right here.
You have heard that the 911 call was made from a surviving roommate's phone, cell phone. But we can now tell you who it was who made that call. I'm not going to name the person, but it was Ethan's best friend who made the 911 call. And that's because it was Ethan's best friend who made the discovery.
Okay, so there you go. So this is telling us now, she's going to go into a little bit more detail here. So everybody was really coming down hard on one of the surviving roommates, Dylan, saying that she's the one that made the call, that somebody went outside, somebody passed out. We were told a lot of different information. So now we're being told this is Ethan's best friend. You can see on the side here, Idaho student murders, exclusive details on what happened before police arrived. Sources, Ethan's best friend found Ethan and Xana's bodies. This is the same friend that spoke to 911, okay?
Of Xana and Ethan's bodies. And that is a very tragic and sad detail to report. Up until now, it had been an assumption that there was maybe an unconscious person because it was a guess that there was someone behind the door who wasn't answering a bedroom door. Now we can tell you that it was Ethan's best friend who had been called over that morning and made the discovery and took Ethan's pulse. Also called out to get 911 on the phone. It is more than likely that the phone that was used to call 911 was surviving roommate Dylan Mortenson's cell phone.
Okay, so there we go. It was Dylan's cell phone, most likely. It's still not saying it absolutely was, but it was thought to have been her phone used, that it's this this friend of Dylan's that found, friend of Ethan's that found Ethan and Xana. So who called him, we still don't know, but from what she just said there, he came over, he's the one that found Ethan and Xana, he took Ethan's pulse. So my thoughts on that is that crime scene now there is compromised. Okay, so I don't know how the defense is going to use that, but they're going to use it. Also, I will have the link to this full interview and all the information in the description below if you want to go on over and watch this and read up on the information also.
You have probably heard up until now that it was an unconscious person that the dispatch said over the radio. But that's not unusual, because when there's confusion, it's standard protocol, according to an article that came out recently in Airmail. Standard protocol, if there's confusion, just to skip the necessities of getting clarity and just dispatch the first responders for an unconscious person, regardless of what the actual situation is. So for anyone getting caught up on an unconscious person, probably not a good idea, given the fact that that's just sort of a standard description for get moving. We need people on the location. Again, this is multiple sources tonight with knowledge of the investigation telling us about who made the discovery of Ethan's body, and then, of course, of Xana's body. What I can tell you is who made the discovery of Maddie and Kaylee on the 3rd floor. I'm not sure if it was any of the other kids who were called over. What is interesting about this whole scenario that played out that morning was that kids came over to the home.
Okay, so you see what she said there? I don't know why it's still baffling to me why 911 wasn't called right away. From the information that has been leaked out, Ethan was apparently found in the room. Xana was found at the doorway. In the affidavit, the officer says as he's walking down that hallway, just before the bathroom, he's walking down that hallway, he sees Xana's body laying in the doorway. Okay, so a lot of people are saying it was Ethan's body, but in the affidavit, it does say that when the officer was walking down that hallway towards Xana's room, that he's seen Xana's body in the doorway. Okay, so still a lot of information out there saying it was Ethan, but I'm going to go by what the affidavit says, that it was Xana that was laying in the doorway there. Okay, I guess we'll all really find out when this goes to trial. Let's continue.
And then 911 was called. So who knows if there was any knowledge of the carnage that had taken place in that home before the kids came over. I mean, it's college.
See, I don't understand that, because if the officer's walking down the hall and he can clearly see Xana's body laying in the doorway, or say it was Ethan's body laying in the doorway, that means the door was open, or they were outside of that bedroom door. So how could anybody that got up in the morning before calling 911 not see that there was somebody laying there in the doorway? Wouldn't you go over and, hey, what are you doing laying on the floor? You know what I mean? So this is still really boggling my mind too, as to if you've seen somebody laying there, if this is one of your roommates. I know me personally, if I get up in the morning, no matter which surviving roommate it was, I get up in the morning and I see one of my other roommates laying on the floor by their door, I would go over and check and make sure they're all right. So if that was to happen, and I'm saying if, clearly you would see blood. Why wouldn't your first call be 911? But instead, from what I'm gathering from this, is that they called friends instead of 911. This friend come over. It was a friend of Ethan's, and came over and found Ethan and Xana deceased. Apparently he tried to take Ethan's pulse and whatnot, but you had to have seen the amount of blood in there. And then this friend screamed to call 911. But I'm saying, like, if somebody's seen their roommate laying there and was concerned enough to call friends, why wouldn't you call 911? That's where I'm getting stuck, you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's finish watching this.
Right? It's Sunday morning after a fun Saturday night. And maybe, just maybe, kids were coming over to, get together and go out for a Sunday brunch. But some kids who are unidentified at this time went over to the house that morning, and it was Ethan's best friend who made that discovery and took Ethan's pulse. And
okay, so now they're saying that somebody just showed up. First they're saying that somebody called the friends over, unless I'm misunderstanding something somewhere, and that could very well be. I'm not feeling very good this morning, you guys. I've been not good for 2 days there now, so that's why my presence hasn't really been a lot here on YouTube. But if I'm remembering correctly, I thought she had said that somebody called the friends. And now what's being said is maybe friends just showed up. So that could explain why that door was open in the front. So it's still a little confusing to me what actually happened. Were these friends called over, or did they just show up going for a Sunday, like she said, maybe for a Sunday brunch after a night of drinking and everything? Like the details coming out, although I'm happy to hear that at least it was one of his friends. It leaves more questions than answers. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let's continue.
And yelled for them to call 911 and ultimately got on the phone on Dylan Mortensen's phone and talked to the 911 operators. I want to bring in News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Entin. Brian has been at the forefront of reporting this story. It's such an uncomfortable detail, but it is one piece of the puzzle that we've been trying to figure out in terms of why it's so complicated, that scene the morning of the murders.
Yeah, so much of this has been confusing based on the reports we've gotten from police.
I want to bring in News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Entin.
Okay, so at least I'm not the only one confused. Just like Brian Entin just said there's so much confusion around this, from what we first got, from what came out in the affidavit, and what's been coming out afterwards, right? There's been a lot of things that are being leaked. And now that the judge has ruled that the family lawyer is also under the gag order, I think that a lot more people are going to be coming forward that are not covered by that gag order and speaking out, which is just going to, in my honest opinion, there's going to be little bits. And I've said this all along. In every lie, there's a little bit of truth. So in everything that does come out, I'm not saying they're lies, but I think sometimes the truth is exaggerated. There's things added for whatever reason. I feel like there's always some truth in there. So it's picking through stuff like this that comes out, picking through it, and really getting details down and comparing that to what we know from the affidavit and what others are saying. If they're consistent on a certain topic, that this friend came in and, like, just for an example, this friend took her phone, came in, called, found Ethan. Now, if you got 100 people telling you that, there's got to be some truth to that. But then there's things added here and there in the different stories, and that's the stuff you got to weed out just to get to the truth. So that's one thing, like with things that are being leaked and stuff like that, you really got to look for the consistency and compare that to the actual affidavit. Okay, so let's continue.
Brian has been at the forefront of reporting this story. It's such an uncomfortable detail, but it is one piece of the puzzle that we've been trying to figure out in terms of why it's so complicated, that scene the morning of the murders.
Yeah, so much of this has been confusing based on the reports we've gotten from police. There have been so many holes and things that they haven't shared. I think beginning with your exclusive reporting last week, things started to make a little bit more sense in terms of surviving roommate Dylan and the fact that she may have thought that there were noises coming from upstairs, but not necessarily noises that meant that something bad was happening or that a murder was happening. That started to explain why she may have not initially called 911, in the middle of the night. Your exclusive reporting sort of shed light on that. And now I think this sort of continues to, again, put the pieces together now to know that there were people who came to the house that morning. And it would make sense, what you said about the unconscious person, that may have just been a categorization that the 911 call was put under, but certainly tragic, as you said, to think that Ethan's best friend, took the pulse. I mean, it's all just so heartbreaking.
I've run this place for 20.
Okay, so there it is there, you guys. Like I said, it was Ethan's best friend that apparently found Ethan and Xana. He's the one that spoke to the 911 operator. As you heard at the beginning, When the 911 call came in, they put it out as an unconscious person just to get everybody there. I feel like that could be, you know, just something that they use as a blanket call, especially in a college town where there's a lot of drinking, a lot of fighting, stuff like that going on. And I think when officers get that type of call, it's just like all hands on deck, just go there and let's figure out what's going on once we get there type thing. So that's what's being reported right now, you guys. Like I said, I will have a description of this, the link to it in the description. Let me just see here. Yeah, it's saying here that the same friend took their pulse and spoke to the 911 dispatcher. Criminal defense attorney Mark spoke out about the relevance of these new details, which are emerging despite a judge's gag order in the case, and said that more information is better than less. If you want to go to their link, Ashley Banfield does interview this Mark guy, and he explains why sometimes a gag order is really not so good for the defense, that it can be a detriment to the defense. And that is also in the link that I will put down below. I'm not going to play it all. If you guys want to see that, please click on the link and go and check that out. So that's what we got right now, you guys. I'll keep you guys up to date. Anything else comes out, anything else breaks, I will jump on here and I will let you know. Until the next time, you guys, please take care of yourselves. Please stay safe. Love you to the moon and back. If you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, share this out, and please give this video a like. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye for now.